Hey, welcome back to another episode of It's a Football Thing. As always, I'm your host, the Balanced Blue RJ, joined by my fellow co-host and legendary mates, Scott the Gooner, Rob the Red Devil. We're all happy fans here because all of our teams won, of course, they're on a positive trajectory. Robbie, I'll go to you first, mate.
Oh, look, mate, it's I was just saying before the stream, it's happy Robbie again for a while, and I've been feeling your pain last year, mate. So I know how it's all, and I'm keeping content at the moment. I'm just enjoying what United are doing. I'm not jumping ahead of myself, but it is nice to come into a few. When you're in form, it's nice and smooth.
Yeah, I hear you, Robbie. I know you're just being a gentleman, but I'm not sure what you're talking about. United won, Arsenal won, Newcastle Bulls won. I have no idea what you're talking about. Scotty, that brings me to you, mate. A happy bull, a happy gooner, happy all round. How are you, mate?
Yeah, mate. Look, even got a win in the NBA too. The Timberwolves got up. So, Borg's loving the sport at the moment, man. It's been very good. Chelsea in the mud. My mystic call about Potter getting sacked before the end of the season is looking like a reality. Is what I do, man. I know ball. I know ball. I know ball. So, look.
Borg knows ball.
That's it. Borg knows balls. That's it. We'll call it that way. But look, it's been good, man. Got out to the MacArthur game. That was nice. Took my nephew to his first game. Beat the concierge's team. The concierge's other teams in the mud. It's good, man. Football's great at the moment.
Well, I think I'm going to have to disrespectfully agree about the football being great at the moment. It's been active. It's been enthusiastic. And I'm coming all the way here from sunny sunshine or South Coast, rather. And it's everything aside from football is all things rosy at the moment. But there's been lots of action in the Premier League and the FA Cup as well. And we obviously put the video out late last week for your viewing. If you're new to the channel, make sure you give us a like, subscribe. We are trying to produce content more regularly, as those that are regulars will attest to, hopefully. But without further ado, the live chat is pumping, boys. Scott, over to you, my man.
Mate, look, it's been a good week of football. Let's start right with the top of the table clash between Arsenal and Newcastle. I was wrong. I did say Arsenal won. They didn't win. But Shane with the nice comment there. Look, on that match, I thought we played brilliantly. We literally did everything except put the ball in the back of the net. I'm not going to be popular. I'm normally Newcastle's. I'm normally a massive advocate for them, but they disappointed me. And I know Shane's not going to like it. I expected them to rock up and play football. I expected two teams near the top of the table going head-to-head, trying to win all three. Newcastle had no intention of taking all 3 points unless they hit us on the counter with a bit of luck, man. The amount of times there was no one anywhere near our half, I don't know. It's pragmatic. They got a point against Arsenal, which for them is really good. I'm not too upset about the point, but I just thought, man, oh man, they really negatively shut down the game. I think there was a stat that came out. The ball was in play for maybe, was it 52 minutes? I saw something like that. They literally killed it. And of course, then tensions are going to boil over. Mikel Arteta was animated on the touchline. I want your views on that, boys, of course. But I can understand why it got so tense, because Newcastle were, I thought it was like football terrorism. They were brutally killing the game of football. They shut down any opportunity to play. But credit to their defense. A big point for them, a disappointing point for us. What do you make of Arteta's antics, RJ?
I reckon I understand where you're coming from, but I think if the shoe was on the other foot, you'd respect and appreciate the maturity that they've shown, because Arsenal have been there, done that, won that. Newcastle very much still finding themselves. They find themselves in a part of the ladder that is unfamiliar territory for them. And I know it's the same thing with Arsenal because they haven't been at the top for such a long time. But away against a hot and firing Arsenal, like Shane said in the chat, why would you come out, risk it just to appease your fans and the neutral football community to look good and risk a point, knowing that you're all more than likely going to lose against a superior team that's in a better form? So I actually would have preferred a more open game, but I actually have a lot more respect that Newcastle didn't try to be too proud and get themselves played off the park. So a lot of respect to what they achieved in getting that point.
Robbie, how do you feel about Newcastle's tactics and Mikel Arteta's antics. They were really outrageous. He wound a lot of people up.
He's outrageous, mate.
You reckon? I don't see a problem
I
with
think
it.
so. I think he's a bit over the top.
No, I think it was a bit of both. Look, after obviously seeing the rest of the results, obviously it's a disappointing drop points now for you guys, considering that obviously City have caught up by an extra 1 or 2 points, whatever it was. And yeah, look, I guess when you say that Newcastle going away at the Emirates and coming away with a result, I think you'd say it's positive. But yeah, look, the football wasn't amazing on there, and there was opportunities in the game when they had little spells, 5 minutes here and there, where I did think that they could have, maybe scored a goal from. But yeah, I really thought that Arsenal really would have taken this. As much, I really thought they had enough quality in the team to possibly break them down. But Newcastle's been consistently good defensively all year, so for them, I think it was a pretty even game. Look, Arteta, I think he did. Obviously, I think it was a penalty. He was really whinging about. Look, I'll leave it up to you to say if they were or if they weren't. But look, I just think he did go a bit overboard. We always give it to Klopp when he goes overboard. I think he was a little bit on the Klopp train. But look, I think it was. I was more excited. Like I said to you that morning, I'm getting up to watch this one. I had on the side, obviously United was playing. I expected it to be a little bit more toe to toe. But yeah, look, like I said, it's a point shared. Obviously, you guys have lost a little bit of ground from your big lead against City. But you play on. You didn't lose, which is the main thing. But you both kept clean sheets, which is another bonus.
Mate, for me, on them penalties, you look at that. He literally had the shirt almost back around the wrong way. That was a 100% clear-cut penalty for me. I can't play the video, but if you look at the video, you can see that
I've seen it,
that shirt, it literally like wraps around his body, man. It's like my rashy when I get out of the pool. It's struggling, mate. Yeah, that shirt was struggling. That's
better than having your hair pulled, right? Like Kukureya. Let's not forget that. So
again, another pen. But this one for me was nailed on. The handball, look, Ham was in an unnatural position. I don't run around with my hands up here, but it was very close. He didn't have much time to react. So this one for me was outrageous. The first one. The other one, sorry, I'm happy to let go.
Yeah, I agree.
RJ, any final thoughts on this match before we move on, mate?
No, Arsenal better team, but Newcastle rode their luck, and that's how it goes sometimes. You guys needed to be more effective, and you weren't. And that VAR stuff, you should have got at least one penalty, but we keep talking about this. I'm a bit tired of it. Mm-hmm.
Make your own luck, boys. Speaking of making your own luck, let's talk about your team. RJ, you've had the Manchester City double, you poor buggers. Probably the worst team to double up against, particularly when you're not in good form. They beat you 1-0 in the league, and then they trounced you 4-0 in the FA Cup. Just quickly, some thoughts on that.
Yeah, mate. So, look, I put out a bit of a match reaction following the 1-0 game, and for those that checked it out, and we had a lot of commentary afterwards, I actually walked away with some, as it turns out, delusional optimism following what ended up turning out earlier in the day. But it's a really difficult one to assess because positive vibes following the 1-0 loss. Yes, it's a loss. It sucks. Of course, we don't like losing, and we keep losing at the moment, which is a really bad run of form for Potter and co. But the performance itself in patches, we restricted City quite a lot, including the superhuman Haaland in that game, and it required a really basic goal we conceded. So disappointing result, good performance, put that to the side, build some momentum for the FA Cup match. And then this morning, 2 penalties, and a really well-taken free kick by Moyes, who's proving to be the Voldemort for Potter at the moment when City play us. And, yeah, just overall, the game was over before half-time. It was 3-0. It could have been more. We offered 0 in attack. I'm not going to use the excuse train of the injuries issue because, look, there's a lot of injuries, but for this particular match, City also made a lot of changes, didn't play Haaland, didn't play De Bruyne. They also had a weakened team, and we just didn't really turn up in any way, shape, or form, very disjointed. And I know a lot of that is due to the fact that some of the players that we did pick who are already substandard based on who we would pick if we had the best players available, but the chemistry was clearly not there. And just some of the mistakes that were being made was we did well in some situations playing it out from the back, but as soon as it got out of the back, between midfield and attack, Mate, it was 0 XG. We didn't look like we were going to score. We could play another 90 minutes, another 90 minutes, and another 90 minutes, and we still wouldn't have scored. So overall, mate, a terrible performance. 4-0 wasn't flattering, and that's the saddest part about it.
RJ, I've got to put you on the spot. When Graham Potter was appointed, I told you that I didn't think he'd make the season, that this job, your club, was too big for him, that the Chelsea fan base as a whole have been very spoiled and therefore aren't going to have the patience to ride this out. And there's no guarantees that riding out a process is going to bring success, right? It could go either way. But do you think Graham Potter should be concerned about his job? Because you're sitting 10th in the table, you're out of the FA Cup, and you're looking awful. I mean, the injuries, yep, you've had an awful run, but, mate, Potter should be nervous because Chelsea don't muck around with managers.
Yeah, no, it's a fair context, and I've sort of tried to put those variables together. It's an interesting one because me personally, I know we've had a lot of fundamental issues sorting out members of the squad that belonged under previous regimes, and we had the Frankenstein approach where we just sort of bought players and tried to bolt them on, and it didn't really quite work out. That's why we haven't really been competing in the league since we've won it, so we've won a lot of cup competitions. We've made finals. We've got knocked out to Liverpool twice on penalties last season. We won the Champions League in 2021. So a lot of these issues have been covered up because of the good cup form. But look, Potter has inherited a bit of a messy squad, so to speak, and the acute set of injuries. And just to put it out on the table for everyone, these are 9 first-team regulars: Kante, Fofana, Reece James, Ben Chilwell. Mendy is a backup now, Loftus-Cheek. So for us, we don't have the same level of Chelsea depth we used to have. But putting that to the side, the Potter regime started so well, boys. 9 games undefeated. The first loss, ironically, came against his old team, Brighton. And since that point onward, it's like he's been cursed severely. So for him, I don't know if he needs to be nervous about losing his job, because the club's made a lot of investment in the back office staff, new technical director, sporting director. They've brought all of his coaching staff across, new data analytics team. To get rid of someone who hasn't had an opportunity to bring in their own players, to inherit a messy squad that started off pretty poorly during this season under Thomas Tuchel, who brought us so much success and had to handle his own external pressures because of the sanctions issues, it would be quite unfair on Potter that they pulled the trigger so soon, even though he himself needs to be doing a lot better, him and the players. So nervous, I don't think nervous because he's been given assurances, and this isn't the same Chelsea of old. Let's remember that. If this was the old regime, would he have even made it this long? That's a legitimate question. Going forward, I don't think that, unless they are in serious danger of getting relegated, touch wood, I'm knocking on the wood here, I don't think he's in serious trouble of getting the flick. But, mate, if this is a football thing, crazy things could happen.
Yeah, 100%. Robbie, I want to ask you, Belle Silva, Thiago Silva's wife, no stranger to sharing her views on social media. She put out a tweet. After the result, pretty much saying, let me find the wording. I think that going back or looking for solutions when you take a hasty or totally wrong attitude is not wrong. I read that as you're stuffed up by sacking Tuchel. This is what you're going to cop now. What do you make of players, partners, and particularly Belle Silva's done this a lot. We know that Thiago Silva's getting on, had a good relationship with Tommy T. Does this annoy you a little bit? Does this help Chelsea or hurt Chelsea? Or is it nothing?
Hurts Chelsea. Well, just, if I was him, I'd be like, just, shut up kind of thing. It's, well, what's it to her? She's not the manager. She's got nothing to do with the club. She's just, a wife of a player, to be honest. So, yeah, I don't think the club would really take anything what she says into account anyway. So, it's just probably a little bit more heat that under Chelsea at the moment that they don't need, or more publicity that they don't need in a negative form. But, yeah, look, I think RJ wrapped up everything pretty spot on with the 2 performances against City. The first one, I thought City were they didn't impress me, and I thought Chelsea were actually nearly one of the better sides on the day. Obviously, a little mishap from Kepa, with a bit of lazy goalkeeper, and unfortunately let them get the points. But then today was just, as RJ said, it was very unbalanced. City were on fire. They looked like they wanted to get the job done, and they did.
Well, there you go, boys. Robbie, quick fire. Would you sack him?
Nah, look, as a United fan, it's like everyone said when Ollie was there. For us right now, I want it to be a slow process. I want it to continue like this. But that's just natural as a rival, you know what I mean? We can't say that I don't like Potter, because we've talked about him for the last year and a half of how good of the job he's done at Brighton. So for that, I think he's a good manager. But like I said, it's question marks on, is this too big of a job, and how long will this process take, and will it be successful in the end?
That's it. Robbie, talk to us about your team, mate.
Yeah, look, it's been crazy, man. I feel like so much has happened in a week. We go back, and we had the 3-0 win against Bournemouth, another home win, another clean sheet, another 3 goals. Again, at the moment, the boys are on fire. Scoring off set pieces for the first goal, Casemiro, beautiful finish. Again, we haven't seen set pieces in years. We've finally got a set piece coach, and we're starting to see reaping the rewards a little bit. Again, Luke Shaw in the form of his life under Eric Ten Hag, another finished off a really nice, well-worked team goal that he started himself. And Rashford, we all know what's happening with him, mate. He really is on fire at the moment. I think it's nearly 5 games consecutive at home, nearly 7 games straight. He's scored in all competitions. So, look, the ball keeps going in our way. We keep scoring. Our defense looks good. We're not perfect, but, I'm not getting my hopes up. If we do look back at that Bournemouth game, we won 3-0, which was quite comfortable. But we also did concede quite a few clear-cut chances that, De Gea did have to come in and save us on a couple of times. So, if we do play like that, and we we do concede clear-cut chances like that, a team like City, which we are coming up to this weekend in the derby, will punish us. And then, like I said, in the FA Cup, obviously Saturday morning, it was nice to get out there nice and early at the pub with the supporters club. And, a 3-1 win against Everton. Again, wasn't our best performance, and it was kind of good, I think it was 7 games straight we had a clean sheet until, obviously, this one here, a bit of a mishap from De Gea for the equaliser. But it was good that Anthony, he needed his goal to get some people off his back. He opened the score quite early on. Obviously, the equaliser from Everton. And then, we went on one. I think Rashford again, he whipped the ball in for the cross that went in for an own goal. And then that was right at the last kick of the game. Garnacho won a penalty, which Rashford converted. So, again, the boys are, everything is, we're through to the Carabao Cup quarterfinal, which will come on Wednesday. Went to the next round in the hat for the FA Cup. And at the moment, we're cruising the last 7-8 games. We've all been wins in the Premier League. So at the moment, it's looking good.
That's it. And the Carabao Cup doesn't matter anyway, Rob, does it, mate? That's what United fans used to tell me when we did well in it.
Yeah, mate. I love the Carabao Cup. Mate, it's one of the last trophies we've won. So if it's a cup, man. Andy Cup's a cup, a Mickey House Cup, a Champions League Cup, I'm all for it, mate. Silverware, as I always say.
We just don't count Audi Cups on this podcast, do we, boys?
Exactly.
No Audi Cups.
That don't go on Wikipedia, so it doesn't count.
That's it. All right. Boys, obviously we've had FA Cup action too. Couple of teams that will not be in the hat for the next round. Aston Villa beaten by Stevenage 2-1. Just scrolling down. Liverpool are going to be there, but how lucky was that against Wolves? I have probably not seen a bad VAR call on that level for a long time. That was terrible. You saw that offside, RJ?
Very clear offside, of course. But, look, it's, again, a continuation of some suspect officiating. But just in terms of the FA Cup, the Wrexham result, that was quite intense. We kind of called that on our video, so awesome stuff from the IFT crew on that one.
Newcastle are gone.
Newcastle, obviously Chelsea are out. City progressed quite comfortably.
Brentford gone.
Yeah, exactly. There's a few heavyweights. There's a few cup sets, so to speak. So it'll be interesting now in terms of those teams that are knocked out, how much it actually has a positive injection, if at all, in terms of the Premier League. So, yeah, definitely an interesting one.
Mate, that call is exactly why I think refs need to be held accountable after the game. This I certainly agree with. It has to be in for all of the games, not just some.
Consistency, that's all.
100%. 100%. It was a shocking decision, though. Shocking decision. I read this morning. Apparently, Mike Dean's two sons are Liverpool. I like that spelling too. Season ticket holders. They don't help themselves, and all you've got to do is get the referee and the people in VAR, the same way managers, players have to do their press conferences. 5 minutes at the end. Can you talk to us about this decision? What was the thinking behind that? Why did you call that offside when you can clearly see it? There needs to be accountability. If I know that every day at my job I can make mistake after mistake after mistake, and they're still going to keep me, I'm just not going to care about my mistakes. So for me, that was.
I think part of the reason, because the solution seems straightforward in terms of just interview them, do what they do at halftime. We get the ex-Premier League referees given their takes. I think part of it is probably due to the fact that they don't want to put any more intensity and scrutiny on these people. But the reality is, for the clubs, for the fans, for the stakeholders that have a material interest, we kind of need that transparency. So they've got to come up with a system where there is some proper explanations being provided here, because there's too much head scratching going on. That was dreadful.
Man, it's worldwide though. I genuinely don't feel, and I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but I genuinely don't feel the VAR's made the game better. I feel like we just argue and complain more. We look at lines and millimeters. Even, at a domestic level, the end of that Sydney FC Wellington Phoenix match, just mental. I feel like it's made it worse. To me, if they said they're going to scrap it tomorrow, I would say thank you. Please.
You know what, though? Just on this very, very quickly, yes, there's been a lot of high-profile stuff-ups, no doubt about that. We keep seeing it. But we've all been recipients on the good end of a good VAR decision. So I'm not so quick to just bin it straight away, but it needs to be better. We can't keep having some good, some bad. It's not good enough.
I'll still keep it.
I'd scrap it. My man Sparks and I agree. Scrap it. Slows the game down. Still getting wrong calls. But anyway, it was an exciting week of FA Cup football, boys. It was exciting. There's more to come. My team playing Oxford tomorrow morning, so I'm going to enjoy that. I'm confident we'll go through. This is our cup, the FA Cup.
You know what, Scott? I was going to say, just looping back to Spurs as well. Huge performance the other day. I was watching them against Palace, and I'm just going through the different games, and it was 0-0, and Palace were the better team before half-time. They were all over them. And then I flick back, it's 4-0 Tottenham. They are such a difficult team to comment on at the moment, because 1 minute they're playing woeful, losing. That's the way it should go. Next minute, they just pluck these big wins out of nowhere. The Harry Kane effect, boys. Should we be concerned that Tottenham are a bit of a sleeping giant, or is this just a flash in the pan?
It's Tottenham. It's Tottenham.
It's Tottenham, man. They'll pull these results, then they'll go and get battered for the next couple of weeks. Although we do have a North London derby coming up.
Don't be too cocky, mate.
Again, I say this every North London derby. If you're a betting man,
put on the penalty Kane.
Chuck your money on Tottenham to get a penalty and Harry Kane to score it. It's literally, I feel like even when I was 2 watching these games, Harry Kane would still get a penalty and score it, mate. It's in the script. They always get him. And
he's not the best at taking penalties, obviously.
Mate, what better narrative than Spurs beating us to flip the title race on its head? All this talk of corruption's got me going, man.
Wait. Scotty, just quickly, you said the FA Cup's your cup. How are you guys feeling that you've got a possible City if you guys get past Oxford?
Got to beat them at some point if we want to win it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Look, I would rather play City in the next round after Oxford than go through all these legs just to get trounced by them in the final or the semis. If we're going to get knocked out, I'd rather get knocked out by City ASAP.
That's what we decided too, Scott. We're focusing on our Premier League survival, so we know our priorities.
Chelsea are protesting, aren't they?
Chelsea done that on both fronts, the League Cup and the FA Cup.
Oh, dearie me.
Chelsea thing.
Boys, before we kind of wrap up this part of the football talk, Couple of managers who maybe might be looking over their shoulders. Potter, maybe.
Lampard.
But certainly Frank Lampard, not good for you at the moment, Arj.
No,
Frank Lampard, David Moyes, for me, are the next two. I think it's a shootout between those guys. So who's the first one getting sacked?
I'd also throw Brendan Rodgers in. I know there's nothing against him. I still think he's a good manager, but I think Leicester, they just flattered to deceive me.
Why haven't they done it yet? I don't think they can afford it, man. The payout. I don't know. Who do you think goes first out of them three, RJ?
It's a tough one because I follow a lot of Frank stuff. I follow a lot of Everton, and it's a scattered view. Some people saying, "Yep, get rid of him. We need someone more experienced. He's done his bit. Thank you very much. Time to go." Other people just completely 100% behind him, saying it's not his fault. You're just going to get him. Same situation, Benitez, all the same thing over and rinse and repeat. What's the point? The board is the problem. So I'm not sure about him. David Moyes, that's an interesting one because they were very close to getting a huge 3 points against Leeds the other day. It would have been massive, but then they had a bit of a collapse near the end, and that's continued that microscope on him. So, look, man, I'm a bit biased here, but I think it's a flip of a coin between him and Frank at the moment. I would say to get off the fence, I'd say Moyes, just because I think this is more of an unusual position for West Ham compared to Everton, even though they're both proud clubs.
Robbie, do you think Moyes?
Yeah, I definitely think Moyes. Everton is, pretty much in the same position as they are last year, just escaping relegation. They're doing the same now, bouncing in and around on goal difference around the relegation zone. Frank Lampard, think of him what you're not. He's not the most experienced manager or as experienced as David Moyes, who's been around the game for a very long time. West Ham, they've gone from the past couple of seasons hanging around that fifth position, getting Europa Conference League, making semi-finals in the Europa League, to be in a relegation zone after being backed again. You look at, they've been spending the money, mate, in the last few years too, mate. They've gone out and got a new striker. They've gone out and got Paqueta from Brazil. They went out and spent money too. So for me, I think David Moyes is definitely in the firing line before Frank Lampard.
Yeah, look, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, you never want to see anyone get the sack. It's not part of the game we enjoy, but we've got to cover all these things. It is, unfortunately, a football thing. It's part of football culture and the ruthless Premier League. But West Ham, 4 wins out of 18 matches. I think he could be next. And I wouldn't be shocked. If they both kind of pulled the trigger at a similar time to see David Moyes straight back in at Everton. Wouldn't
be a nice narrative, wouldn't it?
If he slotted straight back in there.
They're talking Wayne Rooney at Everton even as well, man. It's crazy, but that's what I mean. It's the board. It's just a revolving cycle there with managers.
Big Sam's on the phone, Robbie. He's waiting, mate. Get me in.
Mate, Duncan's probably there on the hotline as well. They're all there, mate.
Yeah, I don't know, boys. I don't know. It's been a crazy week in football. Who knows? You got any quick fires for us?
No, I'm out, mate. Quick fire.
Robbie, you're normally Mr. Reliable, mate. What is going on? You and me, we've swapped.
It's the time of the year, mate. It's just too crazy. And it's the last thing I'm thinking about is quick fires. I should be quick fired,
mate.
Quick fire. That could have been our manager
in a minute. RJ, you got one?
Yeah, just quickly. Football talk. We all know of our favourite jersey number, like my number 8. I think that's the same for yourself, Scott. What's your alternate favourite number if you had to wear it, if it was taken?
Oh, that's easy. I've got this one. Well, my favourite is 10 and my alternate is 11.
Nice. Yeah, I'm 8. But if not...
Well, you're going to have to pick your alternate, mate, because I'm the number 8 here.
Has to be the GOAT's number, Thierry Henry, 14, mate.
Oh, isn't that Eddie Nketiah, the GOAT?
Don't worry about Eddie Nketiah, mate. Don't worry about Eddie. He's doing his thing, mate. But 14.
Nice.
14 for me. It would have to be. I'm number 6. I'd have to be number 6. DM related number.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay. Look, I don't mind that. Question from me. I know you're away at the coast at the moment, RJ, which is why the change of scenery. What kind of getaway would you prefer, boys? Weekend away in the city, country getaway, or a coastal getaway? Robbie?
I think we all know. Me, I'll go coastal any day of the week.
Arj?
Says the guy down the coast. You know what, Ben? I would actually say country getaway. I don't know. I love something about the fresh air of the countryside.
So that's the best thing about the South Coast. You got the best of both worlds, mate. You look at one
Yeah.
side's the country, look at the other side's the coast.
Perfect one day, sunny the next, or that sounds like a
Yeah,
state's motto.
Mate. You know what, country getaway? I'll speak to my sister-in-law down in Warren. Send you down, mate. There's always room. They'd be happy to have you. But
Beautiful.
look, for me, boys, I'm a city boy. I'm not a fan of the country. Nothing to do.
You city slicker, Scott.
Hate the beach. I like the look of the beach, but don't like the sand, mate. When you've got a chest like a Persian rug, you don't want sand in there. So give me a city weekend as much as you can. Love that. Love that. Some nice restaurants. Get around to the shops. Beautiful, mate.
He must be on a nice. He must be on a nice wicket, Robbie, with all this money talking about restaurants.
100%. I've got one quickly, boys. I thought on the spot. So, out of all the times you've been to Macca's, what's been your most consistent order or ordered burger?
I'm kind of outing myself.
Tell us, Scott.
Am I hungry? Like, is this for a lunch or a dinner? Like, am I
if you were to add up all your orders ever, what would be the most consistent thing on top of the list?
Most consistent thing would be a large 10 nugget meal with barbecue sauce. But occasionally might grab a double cheeseburger on the side, mate, just as a chaser.
Nice.
Gotta love the McNuggets. For me, it's probably a tale of two halves. I think the early days is more of the quarter pounders. These days, it's probably more the chicken type burgers. But yeah, we're just throwing quarter pounder overall.
Man, that's what we used to call you in high school, the quarter pounder.
I reckon double quarter.
Now, for me, boys, it's OG, mate. Big Mac. I think that's it'd probably kill everything by about a 10, even though they're not as big as they used to be. But I'm a Big Mac, and then probably second would probably be maybe probably a cheeseburger. That's it. Quick one. I remember when it used to be $2 cheeseburger, mate. Just I am a bit hungry. Through the drive-through, cheeseburger and chips. That's it. Straight out.
30-cent cones, Robbie. The good old days.
Cones? Well, geez, that ain't enough. What are they now? About $1?
Nah, I think they're 50 cents.
I don't know. I haven't had one for years.
Who knows, mate? Look, but we better stop talking about them because we might get them to sponsor the show one day. Look, when we start talking about 50-cent cones and city weekends, you kind of know we've covered the football content we need to talk about. But as you know, the show is we are putting out extra videos during the week at the moment. So please make sure you come back. There's always a live chat going, even if the video's not live. So come in, join the live chat. Wednesday night, we'll be dropping a video talking about the players, the player and the manager of the month. Who should that be and why? And should be saucy discussion. And then we're going to drop one on Thursday night with predictions for this next round of Premier League football. So make sure you check back in. Until then, take care. Enjoy your football. Enjoy your holidays if you're on holidays too. See you later, guys.